Mou, M-O-U. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but this is played in the Modern Mox. They went 7-1. It's playing the new Karn Scion of Urza, which has been getting a lot of popularity. He kind of replaces copies of Master of Ethereum, because Master of Ethereum's Anthem effect of giving your artifact creatures +1/+1, while it does have an impact, like your Ornithopters now can kind of get through on the air and Midnights are a little bit better, it's not really why you play the card. You play Master of Ethereum just because he's a really large, we'll move this preview over for while we talk about cards, just a really large artifact on his own. He comes into play as like a 5/5 or a 7/7 or an 8. And Karn makes the exact same things, but he makes multiple of them. He's a lot harder to get off the board, and he can generate advantage if you are in a good board state. You don't really need to commit more. You can just start plussing to get some card advantage. So that way, if they do battle back in, you can then start minusing again, and you'll have cards in hand to play. Outside of Karn, the deck itself is pretty consistent and standard. I have seen some decks trim on Galvanic Blast and play like a Singleton Steel Shaper's Gift or more Master of Ethereums. I've seen some decks have zero Etch Champions because it doesn't really do anything against Hollowed One or any Eldrazi. But there is still enough hate that I like having a pro color thing that could chump block Gurmag Angler for days and stuff like that. But I've seen some people run one Steel Shaper's Gift so we can have a fifth Cranial Plating. I just don't think that's as important. You have a lot of cards that do redundancy. Cranial Plating, Arpago Ravager, they have a lot of similar effect. Turn 1, Turn 2 Steel Overseer is pretty similar. So you really don't need to go as all in on your Cranial Plating. For anybody not familiar with the deck, it's one of the most staple decks in the history of Modern, as far as Modern being a format. We're just going to play most of our hand on turn 1 and just try to run them over with free cards. So we run a lot of zero drops that are bad on their own. Springleaf Jumps, not very good on their own. Signal Pass, not very good unless you have a really big board. But it's really all centered around turning on Mox Opal to generate free mana, and then slamming just really big things on the board and overwhelming your opponent before they can have answers. Our sideboard in Affinity, I've always really liked Affinity sideboard because since the deck is so linear and proactive, you really only board in a couple cards in any matchup because you don't want to hurt your plan. Your plan is still probably one of the best plans in the format, so you just want to bring in a couple other options. The only thing I don't like about this sideboard, outside of Stubborn Denial and Thoughtseize, we have no way to stop a resolved Stony Silence. So if our opponent resolves a Stony Silence, we just have to hope that we have a good enough situation in play because we're not going to be able to activate any other artifact abilities. So we don't have a Nature's Claim or Naturalized Effects or anything like that. We do have triple Ancient Grudge for the Hollowed One matchups, and we have some pretty good hate options through our Cure with the Grid. Dampening Sphere is really against Tron. Grafdigger's Cage against any kind of Coco or Graveyard decks. I think, right? I have to reread that, but we have Stubborn Denial. This is kind of a concession to the fact that Blue-White just get control. While I don't personally love the decks are playable in Modern, so having some kind of counter magic is good. I tend to be a grindy player. I like to grind opponents out. It's kind of what I enjoy to do. It's the type of matchup that I like to play. But I just can't really justify playing fair decks in Modern. All I want to do is play linear, unfair strategies as aggressively as possible. I want to run my opponents over. I don't really want to let them play a game of Magic because that's what the format kind of benefits from. In Legacy, you can play fair decks. You can play permission-based decks. You can play a little more interactive because you do have these free spells. So the decks that are glass cannons, they do auto-fold to certain hands and things like that. In Modern, we don't have Force of Will. We don't have Brainstorm to fix situations. A lot of our really strong cards are on Sorcery Speed or our proactive cards themselves. So there's not really a good way to check your opponent when they go Glass Cannon. So that's why decks like Grishol Soul is good in Legacy. I mean, in Modern, because there's not great answers. But in Legacy, they have to lean on cards like the Angel that make spells cost one more when the opponent casts their first spell. So that way they can go off on turn 1 and the opponent doesn't have the ability to play a free spell to interact. So we're going to test out this Modern Affinity list. I've played a lot of Affinity in the past. I enjoy the deck a lot, so we'll kind of see how it goes. We're going to play a friendly one just so I don't have to spend as many tickets. In my experience recently, I've been playing against pretty standard tier matchups, regardless of what I'm playing a friendly or competitive league. So, And my screen is still sizing wrong, but that's fine. So we have lost the dice roll, which is gonna be the norm. So we had to kind of get used to that. Make sure we're scaled correctly. Perfect. All right. So we have a turn 2 Master of Ethereum, a turn 1 Ornithopter Signal Pest. So we don't have our cranial plating, but we can go either cranial plating on turn 2 or Master of Ethereum on turn 2. So I think this is a pretty good hand we're going to keep. It's not really a lot of a better hand we could hope for. Our opponent plays a tap land, which is good. Overgrown Tomb. There's a lot of decks that could be. So it could be Jund, it could be Abzan, it could be we're gonna play Inkmoth because we don't want the summoning sickness. It could be I don't know. There's a couple different decks this could be, so we're not gonna really. I've seen some Sultai variants running around, so we're not gonna really worry about what it could be. All right. If they leave mana untapped for interaction, then we're gonna play Master of Ethereum. So this looks like it's Abzan. We'll want to play Master of Ethereum, but if they play a dude, then we probably want to go cranial plating just to apply as much pressure as possible right now. Also, this Voice of Resurgence is able to block our Master of Ethereum really quickly. The unfortunate part is we need some sort of interactions, which we don't currently have. Because if they try to go off soon, like if they're going for infinite mana combo, then we're just out of luck. But we're going to go and play Master of Ethereum, and we'll cranial plating next turn so we can have more pressure. Since we're losing our Ornithopter, we kind of want to go plating if we were able to have like a Mox Opal instead of this mountain, or another 0-drop, so we could go cranial plating and attach and attack with both Ornithopters. But because we can't attack with both, I'd rather have another body in play. We have 2 flyers, so we're going to be able to suit up this cranial plating next turn. We'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it was almost. Oh, we drew our 1 mountain. That's unfortunate. It was almost lethal with our effect on Inkmoth Nexus, or it would have been if they wouldn't have been able to interact, but since they're able to kill our Master of Ethereum and we drew our only basic land, we get no value off the Path of Exile. So it's just a 1 mana removal. Another Voice. Like, we're very much winning this race, so we really don't mind. We have a Galvanic Blast. So we play our cranial plating. We get to suit up an Ornithopter. So it's going to be 5, 6, 7. So we're going to take him to 7. So we could win next turn. So we'll try for the turn 4 win. We would have had the turn 3 win off of Infect, or potentially Damage, even with the Galvanic Blast, had the Master of Ethereum stayed in play. Siege Rhinos. They go to. So this is just value Abzan. So they're going to go to 10. We're going to hit them for 5, 6, 7, and then blast them. So we'll have the win here. I don't think there's a 0-drop spell that gets them out of this. So we're going to go ahead and fire up Inkmoth Nexus. They actually could have had the win next turn with our swing out if they had another Siege Rhino. So that's pretty worth noting. And then we blast them. Alright, so we get the turn 4 win. It's turn 4 format. At least that's what they always say. So that's good. So this is a fair deck. What do we want against a fair deck? They are on white, so they likely have Stony Silence. I don't think it looks like they're trying to play big Abzan creatures for value, so I don't think we really care about Galvanic Blast. Master of Ethereum looks like it's going to get killed pretty much on the spot every time we play it, so we can probably take Master of Ethereums out for Etched Champions. Welding Jar. This deck's probably not going to have a lot of destroy effects. It's going to have more Path to Exile, maybe some Fatal Pushes, but mostly Path to Exile and Stony Silence, so I don't like Welding Jar. So with that sideboard plan in place, because they could bring in Stony Silence, Bitter Blossom is normally really good whenever it's going to be a grindy matchup. Like if it gets blue-white, you can bring in Bitter Blossom. But against this deck, if they go Stony Silence, I can't equip one of the fairies I create, so we just bring in Thoughtseizes. And we go with this plan. At least this is my first inclination of what I'm going to want to do. We'll see. When I sideboard, I'll try to start bringing the popped out cards over so we can look at those. Alright. Let's see. We have no accelerated mana. I don't think we want to count on this hand, so we're going to mulligan. We're going to mulligan again. It's got accelerated mana, we'll keep it, but it's not a very good hand. Karn's okay, put it out on top. We need one more land for Karn. Alright, I'll be right back. This hand is awful, but I'm not going to go to 4. Sorry. This hand's not going to look awful whenever I go Infinite Volt Scourges. Inquisition, so they take Mox Opal here probably? If they take Volt Scourge, that'd be great. That's like taking away the only threat. Okay, no, that's fine. Because Volt Scourge is pretty irrelevant as a card right now. So we're going to go Blink Moth because it doesn't really matter. And we also don't want to get played into Stony Silences. Oh yeah, no, the 7 was awful. The 7 was just a fair hand, so we can't actually do anything. And then we pass. Steel Overseer, Arcbound Ravager, Cranial Plating. Those are all like good cards we could draw this next turn. That's also good. That's actually probably one of the best other cards we could get. So now, even if we don't rip a land, we're going to be able to start machine gunning Birds of Paradises and whatever mana dorks they play. If they want to block that bird, I'm all on board for that. So we're going to be able to start just shooting things down here. If they go Siege, I know that's going to be pretty unfortunate. We have 1, 2, 3, so we can make a 4/4, so it won't be good enough yet. Okay, so the Decay, Aether good, which is fine. Because they're spending their time doing that. Etched Champion's a pretty good draw. Looks our opponent kept a pretty do-nothing hand as well. A turn 2 bird, do nothing. Turn 4, abrupt decay. Now a rhino. We're struggling. I think you're supposed to tap for a black. Yeah, it's probably supposed to be Rhino. No, Matt, I do not want to play Mono Blue Eldrazi. Arcbound. So the question is, we're playing Arcbound Ravager, are we trying to race here? I swing for 2, he swings for 4. And I swing for 4. So if he doesn't have another Siege Rhino, I think we're going to go and swing in with our Etched Champion. Because if I block, I'm just absorbing 2 damage. So he's still, like, beneficial in that situation. So I probably just go ahead and start applying pressure with this Etched Champion. Because all it takes is him to whiff, or for me to be able to play this Karn, and then I can start taking over. Gavany Township's a little awkward. Because now his clock gets a lot better. Does he activate it? No. Okay. So this looks like a Coco. I would have loved to draw Steel Overseer and then Arcbound Ravager. But so he activates. The fact he kept open mana looks like Coco, which means I really don't want to swing because I don't want to get punished by him just throwing a bunch of things into play on my end step. I need to be able to have a creature back. If he activates Gavany here and that's all he does, that's actually pretty good. Looks like that's all he's doing. Okay. So Steel Overseer is going to help me kind of get back into taking over this game. I still need to rip a land at some point. Alright, so his Inquisition doesn't get to take anything. So he's going to sit back so I can't start swinging with my team. Him giving up the advantage there is pretty good for us. He also can't activate... By swinging with that bird swing was actually pretty greedy, because he can't activate his Gavany now, which means that my Steel Overseer is actually going to be able to start gaining a lead on him. Question is, am I swinging? I think I'm going to swing with the Blinkmoth Nexus. Keep Etched Champion back. Yeah, keep Etched Champion back. So if he does swing with Siege Rhino, I can try to make that a little bit bigger. Do I want to get in for 2? No, because if he swings with Bird, if he pumps and swings with Bird, then I can actually activate Blinkmoth Nexus. Oh no, I won't have the mana to pump him. No, I should probably swing with Blinkmoth Nexus, but that's okay. We still need one more land so we can play this Karn. So we'll just block. So we're going to activate Blinkmoth, and before damage we're going to activate our Steel Overseer. So we can absorb 1 less damage from the trample. So we get a Volt Scourge. I can, yeah, no, you're right, I can. If he swings with that, I can do that. What do we want to do? So he can make his bird a 2/3 and block our signal pest. If he doesn't have instant speed interaction, he's taking 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, so we're just gonna fire up Blink Moth and swing with everything but Steel Overseer. I should have probably played the Volt Scourge before the swing so I can get my Steel Overseer pump. That was a mistake. Now does he have the Coco? Cord? Yeah, I should play this Volt Scourge main phase. Untap. He gains 4 life, and I sacrifice an attacking creature. So I'll probably sacrifice the Volt Scourge, or the Signal Pest. That's the goal. So if I sacrifice Signal Pest, he blocks Arcbound Ravager and Blink Moth Nexus. I get in for 7, 8, 9. I can sack other things to make it 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, we're going to sacrifice Signal Pest. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I should have played this Volt Scourge in advance. That was... because I want to get the more damage through. And Volt Scourge... Signal Pest wasn't doing anything after this point. Because, I mean, he's just going to block it with his bird, and I'd rather... I mean, if he blocks there, this is pretty great. So we're going to activate Steel Overseer. We're going to sacrifice Memnite. So he's going to take 10. And then we're going to play Volt Scourge. Go to 8. So he has 1 card in hand. If the last card is Siege Rhino, so I have to block with this Volt Scourge, because if the last card is Siege Rhino, I die. So I guess I should not even play the Volt Scourge. That was bad. I basically just lost a life for no reason. Okay, so fire up Blink Moth Nexus. Yeah, no, I have to block and no sack. I should just not play Volt Scourge. I lost a life to play Volt Scourge. Basically, I paid a life to discard. Coco? Or another Blessed Alliance? Ugh. That hurts. Double Blessed Alliance. Right, so he goes to 12. I have to sacrifice Blink Moth Nexus, I think. Or do I? Should have activated Steel Overseer dang it, in response. I have not played against Blessed Alliance in a long time. So if I activate Steel Overseer, Arcbound Ravager goes to 5 counters. I sack my other 2 artifacts, goes to 7, and that's good. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I still have lethal, so we have to sacrifice Blink Moth Nexus. He has to block Arcbound Ravager. So we still have lethal, but I should have done it a different way. I should have responded to Blessed Alliance by activating Steel Overseer, sacrificing Mox Opal and Darksteel Citadel, and this way when I sack Arcbound Ravager, it would transfer all the counters to Etch Champion. I throw a lot of my lands away. So 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah. Alright, so sacrifice an artifact. Sacrifice an artifact. Sacrifice an artifact. Sacrifice to himself. Yes. Transfers all the counters to Etch Champion. Yes. And then hit them for 13. Cool. Alright, so we win. I need to get better, especially when I'm streaming. I'm so worried about clock, but I mean, this is a faster deck. It's part of the reason to play this deck. I need to get better at pausing to reevaluate the spell that's about to resolve before saying okay, assuming I know how it's going to work. Because if I make all the movements to that champion, I would have gotten through excess damage, but this way, in the event that they're at a higher life total, if I respond before I allow Blessed Alliance to resolve, I'm able to sacrifice my land and my Mox Opal to Arcbound Ravager. I'm able to activate Steel Overseer. Then to Blessed Alliance, I sacrifice Arcbound Ravager. His modular trigger goes on the stack, and I'm able to move his counters over to Etch Champion as my payment of Blessed Alliance. So I don't actually have to do any of the shenanigans a little bit later. So that was a mistake in retrospect. But still won the game. Just worth noting that it's best, especially if it's a card you haven't played against in a while or you've never played against, stop, read the card, ensure you know how it works, then continue to move forward. Especially in a paper tournament where you call a judge and you can ask how it works. Alright, so we lose the dice roll again. Alright. What do we have? Oh, man, this hand is so close. This hand is so close to great. I can't keep the one lander. So I needed Steel Overseer, Arcbound Ravager, Vault Scourge, Midnight, or Ornithopter. One of those cards to be a Springleaf Drum or a Mox Opal, and then this hand is nuts. But being the one lander, I can't do it. So we mulligan. This hand is also fairly mediocre to bad. Mox Opal won't be turned on until I draw another artifact. So currently, by this hand, it's a 2-lander with a 3-drop. We're going to keep because we have the Scry and we're on the draw, but it's not very great. We're going to put that on top. So we have a turn 2 Master of Ethereum. The hope is our opponent's not a pretty removal heavy deck. I don't ever like keeping, even on Affinity, I've played Affinity for a long time. I never like keeping a 1-lander, but this hand is okay. Because you have the 1-lander and you're like, oh, my hand's so close to the nuts, but you have such a low count of land draws that if you don't draw another mana source until turn 2 or 3, you're probably just run over. A lot of the decks either have discard spells and they've taken what you want, or they'll have the removal lined up now. Red-green Ponza. Okay, so Escape Shift. I really don't think the first hand was keepable. Cast. Play this. Play this. can't do anything else. We can go and play our Mox Opal because there's no reason not to have it out. We don't have a 2-drop, so we pass. Yeah, in my experience, yeah, this Escape Shift or Titan Shift, whatever, I don't think their first hand's okay. I think the first hand is like dreaming, but your mana count is just way too low to depend on it. You miss one step and you're out of the game. Especially a deck like this that just doesn't really care about anything. The upside is this deck, Titan Shift and all that stuff, doesn't really have a lot of interaction for our deck. Main deck. Whoa, what? That's... Oh, man, that's an unfortunate play. I mean, I guess it was right. Our opponent got there, but... Jeez. That's a... I guess a clutch play by our opponent. So they kill our Ornithopter, meaning our Mox Opal's no longer active. So we're just kind of out on our... What? That, I mean, if he gets lucky, he gets lucky. But I promise it, normally it does not work that way. Alright, so we'll go Blink Moth. We'll take a damage. We'll play this Master of Ethereum, which is depressingly small. We're probably just dead here. I do miss having Blood Moons out of the sideboard in this deck. Explore. Yeah. No, it's... Mathematically, you should not be getting there regularly off 1s and 0s. I mean, when you mulligan, yeah, 1s and 0s become play keepable, but not on your 7. We're going to go ahead and block here. No. I never get the land if I keep a 1-lander. So our opponent's going to bolt us here. The problem is, like, if we take the 1, we fall into 18, so we fall within range. We can fire up Blink Moth Nexus, make our guy a 4/4. He's taking 1 damage. So, and we can Galvanic Blast our opponent at a later time, so we're just going to let the Master die. The more conservative line would be I could Galvanic Blast that other guy, but I don't think that's necessarily the route we want to go. On the upside is our opponent is at a virtual 8. They have very few cards in hand. Now, they just like ripped a Titan off the top because they didn't have it last turn, otherwise they would have played it. They played the Explorer instead. They did draw 3 cards. Oh, here comes Summoner's Pact. Womp womp. Yep. Valakut Mountain. We need to deal 6 to us. We're probably going to go and Galvanic Blast them here. Down to 8. Because I'm not going to... wait. Cancel. Yeah. I'm not going to try to kill this Titan for a double blast. Yeah, I mean we drew none of the gas. Ancient Grudge isn't what we want. Dampening Sphere doesn't do anything. Grafter's Cage, we really don't have a lot. So we're going to bring in our Etch Champions. Master of Ethereums, we're not as worried about. They're going to bring in a lot of removal. I like Thoughtseizes and Stubborn Denials. I, again, don't like Galvanic Blasts. And we'll probably just bring in the one Stubborn Denial. I think we're going to try it like this. So I like the Denial against Summoner's Pact, or the Escape Shift, or like a Farseek. Yeah, I think this is the best we got. We have yet to resolve a card. The one time we've had him on our hand, we haven't had 4 lands. So Dampening Sphere is fine against Tron, because it's allowing us to still shut down Tron. You think? Yeah, we can try that. I'll go with what you say. I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll go with it. So, Dampening Sphere still helps us against Tron, which is pretty effective, but Blood Moon is just really good in this matchup. It's nice not losing our Inkmoth Nexus and so forth, but Blood Moon is just so good in this matchup. That's true. But if they're Valakutting an Edge Champion, we're in a really good spot. Because normally if they're hitting Valakut triggers, and it's not from like a combo hit, like a Primeval type, then it's fairly late in the game. And we're probably losing the game anyway. But I do like the Stubborn Denials, his ability to hit Search Tomorrow, Summoner's Pact, Escape Shift. Someone will play like Prismatic Omens or whatever other crap there is. So, we'll see. Yes, I would like to play first. This hand is keepable. So we get to go Spire, Springleaf, Ornithopter, Mox Opal, Arcbound Ravager. Sweet. So if we can hit a land, we can go a turn 2 Karn, and he will be able to just pop out something insane. That'll work. So we're going to do that. Then we're going to sacrifice, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, sacrifice this Mox Opal to make Arcbound Ravager bigger. Play a Mox Opal. And then play a Karn, and we're going to immediately make a Construct. So we have a 5/5. And we're just going to pop out back-to-back Construct. Turn 2 Karn sign over. I think the card's good. I don't think it's as great as its price tag indicates. Like its card advantage of drawing, because your opponent gets to choose. I never like my opponent making decisions. I don't like that effect as much. But in this deck, when on turn 2 I get to make a 5/5, it's pretty great. Next turn it'll be a 7/7 if I don't draw anything. If I just draw a regular land that isn't an artifact. A Spire. Yeah, it seems exactly like what we want. Our opponent's search doesn't even go off yet. Don't want F6 because we might need to sacrifice things to Arcbound Ravager. Trivel there. Boo. Gets to chump block. Cranial Plating would be sweet. Signal Pest is also okay. So we play a Signal Pest, and then we get to play Volt Scourge without paying life. We could get Creeping Corrosion or the 4-mana red destroy all artifacts, but I don't think those cards have been getting as much play, so we'll have to just hope that our opponent doesn't windmill do that. So we have to swing for 10. And then next turn we get to start drawing cards off Karn. We can fetch a mountain and Anger of the Gods. And that would do some damage to our constructs. They would get a lot smaller. We'd lose 3 artifacts, making them 5/5s. But those 3 artifacts would go on Darkbound Ravager, also making him a 5/5. So we'd have 3 5/5s. Not the end of the world. There is some consideration to making Volt Scourge a 5/5, and just making sure that any play where our opponent tries to Sweltering Suns us, or not Sweltering Suns, Valakut us, becomes a lot more difficult because we'll be gaining a lot of life off Volt Scourge. So it's possible we just want to make Volt Scourge a 5/5 if they do try to board wipe us. And it's a red-based board wipe. Sweltering Suns, Anger the Gods. So do we make Volt Scourge bigger? So I know we're going to go ahead and eat some of our smaller guys. The question is, do we want to make Volt Scourge a 5/5 or Arcbound a 5/5? I think we're going to make the Arcbound the 5/5, so that way if they try to use a 1-mana removal on one of our other guys, we can move the counters over. And we can also eat these other artifacts at a point later if we need to. So sacrifice Volt Scourge. And we still have lethal on board. So now he gets to bolt. He would need to kill 2 artifacts to be able to get the value. Oh. Gets to chump block us. So we're +1. What did we reveal? Steel Overseer and Spire of Industry. So we get a Spire of Industry. And we're going to cast this Midnight. So our opponent's going to take 11. So if he blocks a construct, what happens if I sack the other cards? So if I sack 1, 2, 3, 4, be 9, plus 3 would be 12. Well, no, I'd have 2 artifacts in play, so this would be 2, this would be 9, so it would be 11, which it currently is, so yeah. No value, so we just swing like this. Alright, so our opponent has to kill us here from 20. I don't think they can. I guess Escape Shift could do 18 to the board. So once he puts his triggers on the stack, you'd have to make sure that our Arcbound's dying. And we could just make the Arcbound real big. I think we'd still be able to make the Arcbound survive that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make Arcbound a 10-10. Alright, so we win that game. Very fast start. Is there anything we want to do different? I mean, it looked like just making big guys was pretty good, so maybe Master of Ethereum's not bad. Not sold on Stubborn Denial. I don't know. I think we keep Stubborn Denial. Yeah, I think we should keep this. We didn't see the sideboard cards, so we don't know that they're bad, but it might just be better to try to, like, race our opponent, especially on the draw. I like being more proactive on the draw and having some reactive spells on the play, because it's more likely that I'm going to have mana sitting open whenever I'm on the play and I've already spit my hand out on turn 1. Then when I'm on the draw and I'm spending my first turn or two playing my cards, I won't have as much mana open, especially for like Stubborn Denial. But It's also worth noting I need to start if this is gonna be the deck I play in season. I've been playing a lot of dredge mostly lately. But in the event that this is the deck I play, I'm gonna need to make sure I'm testing out a lot of. I'm keeping track of where my opponent's life totals are ending up, and it could just be that over these stubborns and thought seasons, I want the blasts if I constantly see my opponents are ending up at 4 by the ratio of the cards I'm playing. But that's not as likely. So. This hand's not very good. That's very slow. This hand is fairly slow, but it won't take much on the draw for this hand to suddenly become really good. I won't really have a great turn 1. Turn 2, Steel Overseer. Turn 3, an Etched Champion that won't have protection. This hand might not be good enough. So if I go turn 1, Spire, do nothing. Turn 2, Steel Overseer, do nothing. Turn 3, Etched Champion. If I didn't draw a 0-drop artifact, my Etched Champion does not have protection from colors. Or if the Steel Overseer died, my Etched Champion doesn't have protection from colors. I'm not going very white, so his Secure Tribe Builders and his Elves that get to search for force are able to chump block any Karn tokens fairly easily. This hand might be too slow. It looks so strong. Our opponent kept their 7. We have no interaction. We do not have much speed. This is where I'm not familiar enough with this matchup to know if this is fast enough. So at the rate of play that we are going over, unless I draw just back-to-back good cards, like if I draw Mox Opal and like a Darksteel Citadel, or a Mox Opal and like an Ornithopter, without drawing that, or turn 1 drawing, like a Springleaf Drum or a Signal Pest, without drawing those cards on turn 1 and then another artifact on turn 2 that's playable without adjusting my curve, my deck isn't actually doing anything until turn 4. And at turn 4, I would love to see a land to play a Karn, which means I'm still really not getting any value off Etched Champion or Steel Overseer. It has all the cards I want to see, though. I guess if I get a turn 1 Volt Scourge, got a cramp. If I get a turn 1 Volt Scourge, this hand is so close to being insane, but it's equally close to being garbage. We're going to keep it on the draw. There's a series of cards I can draw to make this hand good, but if we lose, it's not going to be very surprising. Saying, I hope I don't get punished for this. Search for tomorrow. Okay, so they're keeping Bolt open. So we're gonna actually have gotten 2 free points of damage because they're not gonna be able to use their mana. But that does mean if they have Bolt open, if they pass with open mana again, we want to actually play Cranial Plating and not Steel Overseer. And that also means that our Etched Champion can't get just run out to no Metalcraft. That Stomping Grounds tells you a lot, but it's also very unfortunate because it kind of hoses the entire curve we wanted to go on. Alright, so our opponent's trying to catch up to our clock for whatever point. So our current play They shock in Stomping Grounds and do nothing, so meaning they have Bolt. So our next play is Cranial Plating. We would love to see Mox Opal and then play Cranial Plating, or Darksteel Citadel and play Cranial Plating, so that way we can play Etch Champion with Metalcraft. And then we're going to just try to leverage and maximize that. So they go Tribe-Elder. Them going Tribe-Elder makes me a little bit more inclined to play Steel Overseer now, because they're going to have to spend their time bolting Steel Overseer. So we're going to cast Mox Opal, play a Spire of Industry. Do we want to... If we play Steel Overseer... If they do bolt Steel Overseer, then we're just in trouble. So we have to play this Cranial Plating. We need to make sure that our first threat we play doesn't immediately die. So we play this Cranial Plating, and then now we get to go land Etch Champion, equip Cranial Plating. And it'll be a 5/2 Pro Colors. They also didn't sacrifice their Tribe Elder, so they're going to try to get us down to 18. That Stubborn Denial is actually pretty good. So we didn't want to equip because we want to keep the mana open for this Stubborn Denial. So there's a Darksteel, so we're just trying to make sure that this is as leveraged as possible. He has the Bolt. He was sitting on the Bolt earlier. We could play Karn and minus him, and immediately lose whatever we get. I'm actually more of a fan of play Steel Overseer. Equip Etch Champion. We're not going to activate our Inkmoth Nexus. I want to get him to use some removal, and that way we can sit back on this one shot. Could also have double bolt. We have a 3-turn clock, so even if he bolts our Steel Overseer, we don't really mind because we're still on a 3-turn clock, so it doesn't really matter to us. That's fine. Still a 3-turn clock regardless. We want to save our Stubborn Denial for something that actually impacts the clock we're representing. Our opponent not sacrificing Sakura Tribe Elder is interesting, because it doesn't keep them open to tightening. It looks like they're setting up for an actual Scape Shift. I thought these would be great. Volt Scourge is another option. So we're going to play Karn. Now that we're 18, we can pay life for this Volt Scourge, so it doesn't really matter. This is again, so if we make a clean connection, that's again where our opponent's at 4. We also have 2 ferocious triggers for this Stubborn Denial. Bolting Karn's fine. Karn's already made his creatures, so we don't mind that. You can go Titan here. And if he gets 2 mountains, he gets 1 Valaka trigger. So that's not going to be good enough. Because we can just shoot up Volt Scourge. He needs something more than Titan. I guess if he goes land Titan, he can get 2 triggers. Anger of the Gods. That kills Volt Scourge, but doesn't kill anything else, so we don't mind that. And then we win. Okay, cool. So we beat Titan Shift. We're 2-0 now. Alright, let's see this hand. We're on the draw again. But this hand actually seems a little bit better. So if we draw an artifact creature that we can play on turn 1, if we draw like an Ornithopter Midnight, we get to go turn 1 Arcbound Ravager, turn 2 Etch Champion, turn 3 Karn. So we're going to keep. Even if we don't, we still have a turn 2 Arcbound Ravager, turn 3 Etch Champion, turn 4 Karn. But we have like a lot of the cards we want to see. So this looks like blue-white control. Karn's going to be really good in this matchup, if it resolves. Darksteel's not exactly what we see. So we just cast this Mox Opal. We're going to get it in play. So blue-white or Jeskai control. So yeah, like because of the mana we have, we just play Darksteel and Etch Champion because he's gonna be protection from colors. So he's gonna immediately just be a clock. We're just gonna start hitting for 2 over and over again, and they're gonna have to have a Settle the Wreckage to stop it, or Cryptic Us for a series of time. But now we get to go double Arcbound Ravager, which is pretty good. We're gonna attack first. So I kind of want to go double Arcbound Ravager here. Because I don't want to run the Karn into a counterspell. We're going to play the Spire so they don't know that we have the basic land in hand. So play Arcbound Ravager. So they're letting that resolve. That tells me that they could have Logic Knot. I think this clock is good enough to where I don't need to play more Arcbound Ravagers. Because if they go Supreme Verdict, I don't want to just get demolished. Which looks like what they're about to do. Look at that. Alright. Yeah. So now we get to resolve a Karn. And Karn should be really good. So we play this Inkmoth Nexus. And we get to play Karn. And we're going to go ahead and make a guy. And it's outside of bolt range. So we can immediately start our clock again. Alright. We're going to go ahead and draw because we don't want to get Karn immediately bolted. So we have a Cranial Plating and Exile that we can get back. Play this Inkmoth Nexus. Go and play an Arcbound Ravager. That's fine. No. Play an Ornithopter. And we're gonna turn on Inkmoth. And attack for 1 Infect. Electrolyze. I don't think we can one-shot him. So they're setting up for a bolt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can make this a 7/7 Infect land. Yeah. Oh, didn't mean to say okay. I meant to sack that. That was a mistake. So Arcbound should be a 2/2. So let's see. Do we get back cranial plating or do we make a creature? Do we draw a card? I think we don't draw a card, because if we're trying to dodge bolt, like they would have already bolted by now. So it's either we get back cranial plating or we make a guy. I kind of want to get back cranial plating right now. Yeah, let's get back cranial plating. Okay, so we're going to play cranial plating. We're going to cast Ornithopter. If we equip cranial plating to Ornithopter, let's see, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so we can take him to 5. Oh wait, undo. So we're going to go to combat. If they let us swing, then we're going to instant speed equip our Ornithopter with the cranial plating. Path. So we sacrifice him to himself. Yes. We're going to put on our Ornithopter. I like our regular damage clock more than an infect clock, so I don't really want to go in on that route. Black, black. So we hit him for 7. It goes to 7. So he gets to kill Karn, which is unfortunate. Search for Azcanta is not going to do enough. Alright, so Blink Moth's pretty good there. So we're going to go and play Arcbound. Cryptic. Counter Bounce Ink Moth. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 infect. Alright, so now we fire up Ink Moth. We equip Cranial Plating to Ink Moth. We attack. We can make it 9 infect. We're gonna animate itself, and then we're gonna move the cranial plating to this other Ornithopter. And this way, next turn, our mana is as open as possible, because we'll represent lethal and damage with this Ornithopter, the ability to bounce it over at instant speed with this Ornithopter, and lethal with this Blinkmoth Nexus, and the ability to activate this this Inkmoth Nexus. So we're representing a lot of paths to lethal. They will have Celestial Colonnade. Did they graveyard something? They did not. So it looks like Snapcaster Mage. There's a very high likelihood. These two to activate here. Black, black to equip. But we don't really need the Volt Scourge, because we have lethal through a multitude of patterns, so we're going to go ahead and force them to do it. Settle. Cryptic. It's unfortunate. So we take one and go to 5. The point is we're still just kind of tightening things down. That's all we really want to do. Negate. So they have one card in hand. We're going to go and play this Volt Scourge just to put as many things in play as possible. We want to be as wide as we can, so that way whenever we go for the win, we're fine. So they're in a tight spot to sack that. They have one card in hand. Oh, I should have activated Blink Moth. Well. Yeah, that was a mistake. So they get to block here, take 1. They go to 4. Are you? Oh gosh! All right, so they have no cards in hand at least, but holy cow! All right, so they stay at 5. There are no cards in hand, so if they want to activate Celestial Colonnade, it's going to cost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which means they won't be able to block 1, 2, 3. They would go to 2. And they would block Inkmoth Nexus. What do we want to do? I think we play Signal Pest first. See what they draw. Man. So if I activate Inkmoth and Blinkmoth and I swing, they'll get 2 Infect, which they're going to block that with Celestial Colonnade. So they're going to take 1, 2, 3 regular damage, and they're going to go to 2. Then they still need to draw into a Snapcaster Mage or another Cryptic, where I swing out for lethal. Yeah, it's a little more than we want. And we didn't even get this Mountain off path. We just drew it. We're still representing lethal, and we're locking down on their fetch lands, which is actually pretty important. So I think I'm okay losing my Inkmoth here. So they're going to take 3 and go to 2, so these fetch lands are basically just turned off. So they have to work with the lands they have. They have to activate Celestial Colonnade, block the Inkmoth Nexus, or die. They could activate Azcanta, but even if they hit a removal spell on this Inkmoth Nexus, they still take 3. They would need to hit like an Electrolyze to get value. We're still seeing with double Signal Pest to apply even more pressure to their life total. So I think this play We're running really low on resources, but this is how Affinity is going to win a lot of their games, is by just barely inking it out against these really removal heavy decks. If they draw like a Lightning Helix, that's unfortunate. But yep. So we're going to have 4 swingers next turn. These 2 Signal Pests will be 1 power. Ornithopter will be lethal. Blinkmoth Nexus will be lethal. They'll have 1 blocker. So they need to draw something, and it has to be a 2 mana spell because they only have 2 mana to be a blocker and do anything else. So if they rip a land, it's no good. Blinkmoth is pretty good. So if we swing with this board state, they block Ornithopter. They take 2 and die. And if we activate Blinkmoth... So the problem is, how do we play around another Cryptic or Snapcaster Cryptic? I think we go to combat and we swing with what we have. Theoretically, unless they have a 2 mana spell, they have one shot at answering. And so this is lethal without the Blinkmoth, but if they have a Cryptic, we can fire up Blinkmoth in response. Or whenever they tap our creatures. Okay. Oh, I guess in response to that, I should have fired up Blinkmoth because they can't Cryptic anymore. So that was wrong. So it looks like they have a Bolt, which they should have bolted a Signal Pest before we swung. So they bolt a Pest and go to 1. Oh, the Helix? Gosh, that was like the worst card they could have drawn. So they go to 4. Oh, that was actually just the worst option for us to see them draw. That's terrible. Alright, so we have lethal in another pattern. We fire up both Blinkmoths. They eat a Blinkmoth, they take 2. We no longer have the damage ratio. So in response to him firing up Celestial Colonnade, we needed to have animated our Blinkmoth. And then he would have had to kill that Blinkmoth, and he would have taken 2, and he would be at 3 right now. And we're just hoping he doesn't draw a Snapcaster pretty soon. So let's see what they get off this. Get a Bolt. We need to draw a Galvanic Blast. So we know our opponent has Bolt in hand. Alright. So we're gonna fire up Blinkmoth. We're gonna fire up Blinkmoth. We're gonna fire up Inkmoth. And we're gonna swing out. Bolt Signal Pest, okay. Attack with all creatures. If they tap down to activate Celestial Colonnade in response to the activation, we go for the Galvanic Blast. So yeah, so if they can't really fetch that, so now in response, we blast them. So they are going to have to use their Celestial Colonnade to play around the blast, which then wouldn't be able to block our Inkmoth Nexus. Alright, good. So This is our Bitter Blossom matchup. We also like our Thoughtseizes and our Stubborn Denials, Aether Grids, because they're going to go bring in Stony Silence. Don't like Galvanic Blast. Master of Ethereum is really slow and fair. Edge Champion dodges some of their red spells, because they actually are, being the red version, they're going to have a little bit less board wipes, but they're going to have Settles and Settle the Wreckage and Supreme Verdicts. So I really don't want to deal with that. So I'm going to board those out. And because we're boarding out our bigger, more impactful cards, we board out Welding Jar. So we're going to go with this. So this is our curve. We submit this deck. We just need to win one of the last two, which is exactly where we want to be at. It's really hard to take 3 off a deck that's just maxed removal spells. So we get to go turn 1 Cranial Plating. Sounds good. Keep. We also go turn 1 Double Volt Scourge, turn 2 Cranial Plating, but I really don't want to get my Cranial Plating countered because that's kind of one of the most important cards in the matchup. Citadel, Ornithopter, so we're going to go just maxed out. Not draw. And that's where we're at. We're going to have a 5-powered flyer coming in already. If they don't Stony Silence us. Looks like a Stony Silence. Blast! Alright, well, we are now in trouble. It's unlikely we win this hand. Now, the upside is a lot of these decks are going to keep hands that are not very good because they see the Stony Silence. So, the upside is we can kind of count on the fact our opponent probably isn't on just the best hand in the world. We also are very unlikely to be able to draw, to play a Karn anytime soon. That hand was going to be so good. Man. If we were on the play on that hand, and so we were able to put a Cranial Plating on our Ornithopter before they could play the Stony Silence, it's off to the races. Because Stony Silence makes our artifacts not be able to have abilities, so this land and this Mox Opal don't do anything. Cranial Plating can't equip anymore. I kind of want to fire this up, but we're going to attack first. I don't think the 1 extra damage is worth losing Blinkmoth Nexus, because we have 2 worthless lands. We're going to hold on to this Spire. So it's like another reason why, like, it's unfortunate. Okay, we'll get our mountain. It's unfortunate that, like, what are they doing? Okay. That we don't have naturalizes or any kind of nature's claim or anything like that in the sideboard, because then we just get blown out by situations like this. We're probably just losing this game right out. This hand was like almost the best possible hand. Well, I mean, it was one of the best possible hands we could draw, but I guess I can't actually activate this guy. Well, I can't swing anything in either way. If he counters this, we probably just concede and go to the next game. This is also why we bring in Girapu Aether Grid. It's a 2-drop 1/1. I'll be surprised if they answer this Arcbound Ravager. Wow, okay. So they really probably shouldn't answer Arcbound Ravager, because with Stony Silence, he's just a 1/1. But he will move 1 counter over, but it's just not really very relevant. Opponent doesn't play a land, which is a bad side. Yeah, we can go and concede. Alright. Ancient Grudge doesn't do anything about that. So maybe Master of Ethereum. Still get beat by Supreme Verdict. Yeah, I think this is still what we want to see. We just haven't drawn Thoughtseize yet in any of our games that we wanted in. Well, mockingly, there's the Thoughtseizes and the inability to play them, so we mulligan. I kind of like Aether Grid. Sand is not very good, but we're gonna keep it. Put Darksteel Citadel on the bottom. That's a liability, and we really don't gain anything from having it in play. Don't think we're a favorite, especially because our opponent kept 7 pretty quickly. Serum Visions, yeah. So we just play this Steel Overseer. They then untap and play a Stony Silence, and we slam Gyarapu Aether Grid. Oh, no. Okay. And we can actually pay for Logic Knot. So we're not going to play the plating here, because we've already seen them negate before, so we're probably just going to play, because they're not close to Supreme Verdict yet. So we're just going to play the Steel Overseer. We're going to activate the Steel Overseer. And attack for 1. Huh. So they don't have Stony Silence. They would have played Stony Silence had they had it. So we are now looking at Path to Exile. Bolt. I honestly don't really know what my opponent's doing. It looks like negate mana. They played that for a reason, but if they had negate, they should have shocked in the Sacred Foundry last turn, because then they would have the bolt option, so I probably drew the Sacred Foundry. Wear and Tear. Okay. But now we're safe to play Cranial Plating and equip it. So do we want to give up 2 damage to pump Ornithopter? I think the answer is yes. So we'll swing. And if they path my Inkmoth Nexus, I don't really mind. I'm going to activate so we can put a counter on Inkmoth, and they're going to take 6. So Aether Grid is actually representing lethal pretty soon, and they've played their wares. And they do have Tear. We got to keep in mind that they can use Tear on us at any moment. So it looks like here's Supreme Verdict. Or Settle. Could be a Cryptic. But there's no reason for us to play the Mountain yet. We're actually going to attack with both. I guess if we attack with both, they could Snapcaster. I think that's okay. I think we're big enough to where we want to attack with both now. This is representing lethal. If he blows up Ornithopter, we bounce Cranial Plating over, represent lethal. Yep, so there's Snapcaster Mage. I guess we could have gone Mountain Aether Grid to play around Snapcaster Mage. So he can blow up Cranial Plating. That also means Terror is going to be out of the graveyard, so this Aether Grid, when it resolves, is going to be a clock. He could just shoot Ornithopter, take 2, and go to 6. Supreme Verdict would then represent a board wipe. He's going to have to chump block Steel Overseer. So his option is he has to either blow up Cranial Plating or Ornithopter here. His best play is to blow up Ornithopter, chump block Steel Overseer, because then my creature count goes way down. But there's definitely a temptation for him to blow up Cranial Plating, so that card doesn't just constantly sit here and make value. But yeah, so he blows up the Ornithopter. We don't have any effects we can do with it. Chump blocks Steel Overseer. If he doesn't chump block Steel Overseer, we get to instant speed attach Cranial Plating. Okay. So we play this Mountain, and we play Aether Grid. And I kind of want to go ahead and shoot him for 1. Because there's no reason not to. I have nothing I'm representing. So I'm going to go ahead and activate. Yeah, I mean, normally there's not. Cranial Plating is a bit of a problem because it makes everything lethal. Like Inkmoth Nexus suddenly becomes a lot scarier. If you're at a higher life total and Ornithopter's like 2 power, I can see just waiting and finding an answer to Ornithopter later. But in that moment, with how low of a life total it is, he has no choice. He has to blow up the creature. But at a higher life total, you can blow up Cranial Plating and like leave a 1 or 2 powered creature that doesn't have any other text. Especially if it's like a Midnight that's on the ground or something. Really just depends on what creature is attached to it. Take 2. Fairy? You could tuck away Aether Grid and then he'll die. Tuck Steel Overseer. So we cast this. We animate Inkmoth Nexus. We equip Inkmoth Nexus. We swing for 5 Infect. Put him to 5 Infect. And then we shoot Fairy. That's pretty good. He has to do something about Aether Grid, because this card is just going to eventually wear him down. And this Inkmoth Nexus is also a relevant clock. Third from the top, so our next card is Steel Overseer, as well as this one. So we can play Steel Overseer, animate Inkmoth Nexus, equip Cranial Plating to Midnight, and swing. So he has to kill Midnight, and Inkmoth will get him closer to dead. I think with Aether Grid, I don't want to count on Inkmoth getting him closer to dead, so I actually want to suit up Inkmoth and make Inkmoth be lethal. Which means I don't need to play the Steel Overseer yet. I want to make Inkmoth represent lethal, because I would actually rather deal 1 damage with Midnight. I guess I should have gone to combat first, because now he could just cryptic me. That was a mistake. I should not have fired up my land. I knew what I wanted to equip, but I should have gone to combat, so if he goes cryptic, then we're not completely hosed. I could settle the Wreckage Dress here. I don't really like bringing Settle in against us, but I don't really know exactly what their sideboard plan is. They might. Staticaster. So he still needs an answer for Inkmoth, because Staticaster's not going to be good enough. Because he's got Lethal Infect in the air. Oh, no, he doesn't have Lethal Infect. He's going to go to 1 Infect. That's unfortunate. So we could play Steel Overseer. I think I play the Steel Overseer. He's able to just ping it, but I know my next card is Steel Overseer. Okay, so it looks like they have a Logic Knot or a Negate. And they were tapping incorrectly, but it looks like a Logic Knot. So it looks like he's going to have to fire up Celestial Colonnade to block Inkmoth Nexus. Which I don't exactly want to throw away. So we ping him for 1. Another Steel Overseer. I want to run this Steel Overseer out. I'm not going to be able to do anything to this creature anyway. So I kind of want to run Steel Overseer out here. I'm like tempted to do it, but there's not like a line of play where I board out Galvanic Blast in this matchup. I want cards that have more impact over a longer period of time. So I don't want to fire up Inkmoth and swing because he'll just animate Celestial Colonnade and eat it. And Inkmoth represents another artifact for my Cranial Plating. So like the only way I want Steel Overseer to be held is if I'm going to go Arcbound Ravager and Steel Overseer, which then counts on them having... oh, well, welcome. That counts on them having Izzet Staticaster tapped. So there's not really a line of play where I super want to be in this spot. So Cryptic here. Bounce Aether Grid. Draw a card. That'd be really unfortunate. Yeah, you're probably right. I probably should have 1 or 2 in the deck. If we go to a game 3, I will. Alright, so shoot him. Tap, tap. So they definitely have a Logic Knot in hand. I won game 1. Off a Galvanic Blast. Ooh. So if I fire up Inkmoth and equip, I don't really actually need to equip, so I can just fire up Inkmoth. I know, right? I betrayed it. Traitor. Fire up Celestial Colonnade. He's been great. He's been good when I've cast him. I've only cast him twice. I won, I think, both games. One game he didn't really matter a whole lot, but another game he won by just making generic big things against Abzan decks. They couldn't do anything about it. So I've liked him. So I can equip Cranial Plating and trade. He doesn't have Logic mana, not Logic not mana open. So yeah, I think I've liked him more than Master. He's kind of the same card as Master, each costs 1 extra mana, but you do occasionally get to like draw cards. Like I got a Cranial Plating off of him one time. I plussed it, that gave me the land, and then I minus got the Cranial Plating. I think we want to just hope they don't have negate and try to stick this Aether Grid. I wanted them to tap down on their blue mana. Yeah, not needing to have the blue mana is pretty good. Not having to deal damage to yourself to cast it. It's pretty good. See if they kept the negate in here. Oh no, this is game. I'm completely. Remember, this is game 3. Game 2, they Stony silenced me real quick. Got me. Okay, so they did fetch with the Logic Knot. No. So opponent's at 2. They do run Helix. Fairy would be awful here. So that's what he's going to play. Oh, wait. He's going to fire up the small Celestial Colonnade? That seems weird. Why would he not fire up the 4/4? I have not yet, but it's on my list of cards I want to try. Because my buddy plays Affinity, and he says he has one in his board, and that it's been great. So I want to try one, but I have not yet. Okay. So if we plus, it's going to take a burn spell and a colonnade to kill it, and we can still chump block. If we minus, we can chump block. But we're only making a 3/3. I think I actually want a plus here. Because a minus just really doesn't do anything for me. So they're going to give us Blink Moth, which is good because it's just another creature and our opponent's a 2. They might just give us Cranial Plating, actually. No, they should have probably given us Cranial Plating here because we already have a plating and where our opponent's life total is at. Another plating is redundant, but a creature is pretty relevant. So it goes to 5. Yeah. Plating, an extra plating does nothing for us. I guess at the same time, the Blink Moth, golly, so he only had answers in his hand, and I already have my basic. Oh yeah, you're right. I should have equipped it. So the problem is he has a static caster, so I can't really do anything with Blink Moth Nexus unless I draw another Blink Moth Nexus. So he gets to kill Karn. So maybe I should have just made a dude. Then he would have had to, but then he would have just shot the 3/3 with Lightning Helix, and then still swung and killed it. We just hold Signal Pest. So we want to hold Signal Pest because if we can get 2 creatures with 1 toughness and they're different names, we can put them in play. The Static Caster kind of gets bricked. Hit us for 4. Karn is not bad. So in this case, we could actually go Karn, make a creature, play Signal Pest. He shoots Signal Pest. The creature doesn't do a whole lot. So I guess Signal Pest is still not the play, but I think we still want to play Karn. We'll leave Blink Moth up. They have a Cryptic? Man, their only card is Cryptic, and they had no filtering. They just... Oh, I guess they did just Serum Visions. So there's another spell where that Galvanic Blast would have done great. Yeah. Just gonna like windmill Serum Visions. Let's see if they top this card. Let's actually pay attention. Puts 1 on the bottom and 1 on top. Hit us for 4. It's not a good card. We need to draw another Blink Moth. That's what we really need. Because if we draw a Blink Moth Nexus, and I mean, they probably have removal now, but if we draw a Blink Moth and they don't have removal, then we're able to bubble our Blink Moth by activating the ability. So they topped the Serum Visions. And then what did they do with the remaining cards? Bottom top again. So we go to 6. We're getting close to Snapcaster Burnout. I think Blink Moth is probably our best draw. Not Darksteel Citadel. Oh, playing Signal Pest literally does nothing. So we could trade our Blink Moth with this Celestial Colonnade. Yeah, it's a very frustrating matchup. But I don't see us winning if we do that. So if they have a Bolt, we die. If they have a Snapcaster, you know, it's kind of whatever. Oh my goodness. And this is very much would be considered a flood. So we just go for it. Yeah, then we lose. Alright, so we're losing 3 to blue-white. We didn't have an answer for Stony Silence. The card, I mean, the blue-white decks run it, but that deck isn't everywhere in the format. So you don't run into Stony Silence a ton. So the deck has taken out the answers for Stony Silence. And I'm still of the opinion, I think you need to at least run like 2 Naturalizes, even if you go down on Ancient Grudges. I just think it's too important. This hand is a little slow, but we're going to keep it because it's got a lot of what we want to see. Breeding Pool. Tropical Merfolk, maybe? Seeing blue mana, I want to go and have this Mox Opal in play. I'd love to see like just a Merfolk right now. And then we get to play our Cranial Plating and equip it. Blue-green Merfolk. Farseek. Oh. Like, bring to Lightscape Shift? Yeah, Cinderglade. This looks like Bring to Lightscape Shift. Spire of Industry, Cranial Plating. Equip the Cranial Plating to the Signal Pest, and we're going to just try to race these guys. So next turn we can go Master of Ethereum or Arcbound Ravager. If we go Arcbound Ravager, we can fire Inkmoth Nexus, so it'll be 2 extra points of damage. If we go Master of Ethereum, it's more extra damage. Ooh. So now I'm more incentivized to play Arcbound Ravager. But this deck does run Cryptic. Need this Mox Opal. Cast a Mox Opal. And we're going to go to combat, so if they want to try to tap us with Cryptic, we can activate Inkmoth. At the end of their turn, we're going to 4 them. We have them dead next turn. If he bolts the Signal Pest, then that's unfortunate. Yeah, so this definitely looks like Bring to Lightscape Shift. So now they can Bring to Light for like an Anger of the Gods, and then I have to decide, do I want to save this Arcbound Ravager? Or they could just cast an Anger of the Gods. What? Oh, that's awful. Alright, so we're going to go red. We're going to blast them. One, two. Sacrifice an artifact. So I can sacrifice Mox Opal and Signal Pest. I would still have Metalcraft for my Galvanic Blast, and my Arcbound Ravager would survive. I think that's what I'm going to go for. She has a bolt, and that sucks. But I think forcing him to have the bolt here is good. That's what we want to do. Because all they have to do is fetch. We turn on Metalcraft one more time when we win. So, yeah, they have the bolt. So now we activate Inkmoth Nexus. He's going to bolt. Oh, I guess we just go and do it to make sure. Yes. Yes. So we're going to make a 4/4 Inkmoth Nexus, who will survive this anger. Springleaf Drum. Oh, that's awkward. We're going to play the Springleaf Drum and pass. They run enough fetches because of their crazy mana base so that they can conceivably take themselves to 4 without a lot of difficulty. See right here. So now in response to that Misty getting cracked at any point, we can just shoot them. So we can activate Inkmoth Nexus and swing for 4. Doesn't really change our clock to swing for lethal infect this turn or next turn, so there's no reason to lose our red mana, so we can Galvanic Blast them. We're gonna go ahead and equip Cranial Plating to Ornithopter and swing. So Galvanic Blast is lethal in response to anything. Snapcaster Mage, Bolt. I guess we should have just swung with the Infect. We can go in Galvanic Blast now, because we have Metalcraft. And this is going to put him in a spot where he can't fetch with this Misty Rainforest. It's unfortunate, because if they go... Oh, what? Remand. Okay, that's okay. That could be worse. So they could actually hit us for 2, and then Scape Shift us, and we could die. So play Darksteel Citadel. We animate Inkmoth Nexus. We equip 1, 2, 3, 4. Inkmoth Nexus. And we try to swing for Infect Lethal. Go. Alright, so we get there off the Infect. Definitely bring to light Scape Shift. So we're gonna bring in these cards. Grafdigger's Cage actually shuts down Bring to Light. I think. Let's see what Bring to Light's text is. Bring to Light. Search your library for a creature, instant, or sorcery card for a mana cost equal to your Converge. Exile that card. Oh, nope. It actually doesn't even stop what we want it to stop, so that's not good. So we will not bring in Grafdigger's Cage. Master of Ethereum, they're going to have Ancient Grudges, so I really don't care about Master of Ethereum. I do like Etch Champion. We'll keep the Welding Giant so we can save our Cranial Platings, I think. No. We have Stubborn Denial and Thoughtseize. I think this is another matchup where we really don't care about Galvanic Blast. I'm going to keep the Karn because it represents 2 Master of Ethereums. If we find that we're just needing that last little bit of reach, we can bring in the Galvanic Blasts. But I think we're going to try to get there off of Flyers and Etch Champions. We'll see kind of... I don't really know what they're going to be bringing in out of their sideboard, so we might need Galvanic Blast as extra reach. But we need to see if that's the case first. Oh, man. This hand is so close. Right, we got that champions. What are we doing, cat? I really don't like these kinds of hands. So we get to go turn 1. We would play 4 cards. Mimnite, Ornithopter, Volt's Courage, Mox Opal. But the problem is if they just go 1 Ancient Grudge, we're just dead. So I think we have to mulligan this hand. Because we need to rip another land. We need to rip 2 for this Etch Champion. Yeah, we mulligan. Oh, I almost kept it, but I couldn't do that. This hand also does nothing. So we're gonna mulligan again. We want one like pressure card. This hand is keepable. Steel Overseer. On turn 2, do I want to Steel Overseer? Turn 2, I can't even play the Steel Overseer, so I'm going to put that on the bottom. So we're going to hope to hit a land or a cheap artifact, like a Midnight or an Ornithopter, so we can get this, yeah, I can't even cast it. At first I was like, oh, I have this Mox Opal. But I was thinking that if this was a Darksteel Citadel, maybe we're fine. It's not a Darksteel Citadel, so we can't do that. Alright, so we go Ink Moth, Mox Opal, that awkward spot where we can only play one of these cards. So we pass. We should have, oh man, already messing up. Should have played the Springleaf Drum, because now he bolts this Volt Scourge, and we can't play Cranial Plating next turn. So we're already punting it hard. Well, it's okay. So we go Cranial Plating? Yeah, we can't. We can't get Springleaf in play and Cranial Plating. Okay. Still falling pretty far behind. Alpine Moon. Oh, God, what does this card do now? Choose a non-basic land card. Name. Land your opponent's control with the chosen name. Lose all land types and abilities. And they gain tap, add 1 mana of any color. Okay, so I have a rainbow land now? Alright. So play this Etched Champion. Play the Springleaf Drum. We equip the Etched Champion. So we have a 3-turn clock. That's alright. We'll start with a 3-turn clock. Alpine Moon. I don't think this card's good. I'll just say it. Like if I want this effect, I'm playing Blood Moon. Like this is just a more narrow version of Blood Sun, right? I guess my Ink Moth Nexus gets turned off, but yours doesn't. Okay, so obviously they're digging on their turn. I don't know why they did it on their turn. Yeah, it's not very good. Yeah, they should have definitely not played that Electrolyze right there. Because now they didn't get to shoot my Blink Moth Nexus. Maybe they needed a land, but you still can just do that on my turn. Suspend Search for tomorrow and then Electrolyze when I try to activate Blink Moth. That was just a wrong play. There was no reason to do it on their turn. Snapcaster Mage. Farseek? Okay. So it looks like they're trying to set up to go off. Another plating would be sweet. I'll take another plating very gladly. So they're going to get a land off Search tomorrow. Too white. I really appreciate them tapping down. 8, 9. Why couldn't this Ink Moth I drawn been a Blink Moth? I can't really... Arcbound and Cranial Plating cancel each other out. so I can't really make it lethal. So I go to 6 lands. 7 lands would be... 7 lands is enough to kill me? Yeah, 6 times 3. So if they draw a land this turn and play Scape Shift, then they win. I'm at 2, so if he swings a Snapcaster Mage, I'm not blocking. My clock isn't changing really. I don't think. If I go to 14, oh no, I guess increments of 3. So he could sack the 5. There's the battlefield if you control at least 5 other mountains. So he needs to have 6 mountains, and then they all trigger. So he needs a 7th land, so this doesn't work. I know, right? Yeah, we would have been able to kill him in that spot. Do I just jump anyway? I don't. It's been so long since I played Scape Shift. So sack 5 mountains, get 5 mountains. None of them trigger because you have to have 5 others, so they don't see 5 others. They only see 4 others. So I need to play a land or play Prismatic Omen and then Scape Shift, which either of those it's lethal anyway, so there's no reason to block. So we're going to fire up. Oh wait, should have waited until combat. That's unfortunate. I'm real bad at doing that. Playing into Cryptic online. In paper, I don't do it as much, but online, I do it way too much. Yeah. In paper, I like always move to combat, do it online. I'm so busy trying to like save clicks. I should have sacked it. Oh well. Now I die. Yeah, we misclicked it. That sucks. I guess he had the bolt anyway, so... No, because, yeah, he had the bolt anyway, but if he goes for the bolt, we could just sack him doing things. So we should have definitely won the game off of... He taps our team with the Cryptic Command. Then we untap Blinkmoth Nexus, and he gets to get the kill. I mean, then we get to kill off of Blinkmoth Nexus. 3, 4, 6, so it's 18. They're all selected on me, so you can see. Yeah. Alright, so we need to make sure we're not playing into Cryptic Command like that anymore. I think we should run this back. I think the deck was good enough in that build. We just misplayed it. Misplayed it on a mold 5. We don't really have a guy, but we have this Etch Champion and a Cranial Plating we're going to suit up real quick, and a Karn, so we're going to keep. We're going to save the Moxable because there's not really a reason to run it out right here. I guess if they have Ceremonious, then that's unfortunate. Yeah. Okay, so they're going to try to clock us. We go Farseek here. We go Cranial Plating. Equip it. I think we should be able to race this clock with this Edge Champion. That definitely helps because it's just more damage. I think I just want to slam Cranial Plating. I could go Karn and make a guy, but he can actually blow up the guy. If I go Karn and make a guy... No. We just want to... Because right now if we activate... If we play and equip and activate this, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So yeah, they're in a 2-turn clock. We just take our 2-turn clock. The next turn we get to play Spire of Industry, so if they go for the Cryptic Tap Etch Champion, we'll play around it with Blink-Moth Nexus this time. That's fine, that doesn't do anything. Okay. Alright, so we win. Should have been a 2-0, but... Our only loss is to Blue-White thus far. And 3, we won game 1 narrowly off a Galvanic Blast. We bore the Galvanic Blast out, so maybe that's not right. And then we lose to Stony Silence game 2, and game 3 we get up to 2 and we can never close the deal. We did draw a fair amount of lands in that matchup, but that's going to happen. It's kind of just the way it works. So we got one last game to play. We'll play one more. Normally on Tuesdays between 7 and 8, I'll be on to stream whatever format is at the tournaments I currently care about. So currently Modern. There's a team event coming up, so I might be playing some Legacy soon. Standard doesn't really matter to me. I don't have any big tournaments on the horizon until rotation. So as of right now, it'll be mostly Modern that I'll be streaming. I won't be streaming next week because I will not be around, but I will continue streaming every Tuesday after that. What the dice roll would you like to play first? I win the last dice roll! Watch me get, like, just run over this game. We're gonna keep... It's not the fastest. I would have loved to have, like, another 1-drop or a Mox Opal instead of the Springleaf Drum, so I could have played a 2-drop, but... We're going to be able to go turn 2 Arcbound Ravager, so that way our future plays are all kind of insulated against removal. Forest, oh, Red Green Ponza. Hey, he can't Stone Rain Darksteel Citadel. Eat it. That's great. So I could play Cranial Plating and Equip, and that would hit for a fair amount. The problem is, then I'm open to any kind of like Anger the Gods removals or things like that. I can't exactly remember if this deck main decks those. I don't think it does because it runs a lot of dorks, but also they're going to be able to start chump blocking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess 3-turn them. I'm gonna take the aggressive line. I don't really know the deck, but I'm gonna take the aggressive line. If I hadn't drawn a guy I could have played there for free, then I would have gone Arcbound Ravager. But we're gonna be aggressive, and if they do have like a red board wipe in the main deck, then that's unfortunate. We'll just untap and play an Arcbound Ravager then. Blood Moon. That doesn't really matter. Oh. Well. We can't equip this Cranial Plating, so we're going to go ahead and just play this Arcbound Ravager. I guess we could play it and equip it to this Midnight, but I would much rather just go ahead and get another thing in play. I don't know what this deck plays. So Damning Sphere doesn't stop Utopia Sprawl because it's not an effect of the land. I'm sure I want Etched Champions, sure I don't want Master of Ethereums. I'm pretty sure I want Welding Jar. I don't think they have a lot of cards that I care about. I think it's just this. I think we're just racing them. And that's Champion is just an additional form of Galvanic Blast for reach. I honestly don't know. Alright, so Sand's not impressive, but it's not terrible, so we'll keep. Yeah, just slam it and equip. Yeah, you're right. Should have done that. Oh, actually, that was lethal. I was thinking that would be like 12, but even then, that's still... Listen, I've been worried about my graveyard recently, not this, so we're going to call that an oops. Link Moth, Midnight, Springleaf Drum. But do they have any Inger effects in the main deck? That's what I'm not familiar with. I don't know if they have any Inger effects in the main deck. I know they have on Shattering Spree and Shattering Storm and Ancient Grudge and all that jazz, but Blood Moon again? Corsair Crucifix. Oh, I don't like that. Blood Moon on top. I really don't mind Blood Moon right now. I want the Steel Overseer in play. Real bad. With 3 cards in hand. I think if they had a board wipe, they might have just taken it there. I'm going to play the Steel Overseer. It's probably the greedier play, but if we untap with it, it's great. Play the Signal Pest. So they have a Blood Moon in hand. Ancient Grudge, yeah. Love to rip a land. Midnight is not a land. Alright, so cast this Midnight. Cast this Archon Ravager. Go to combat. Can grudge this Vault Scourge. So he has a Bolt on top. It's forced in a. So he has a Blood Moon in hand and 2 other cards. Eternal Witness to get back Ancient Grudge. That's pretty good. So you get a 3-for-1 off that Ancient Grudge. Still would like to draw a land. I think we just let that go and we move the counter to Signal Pest. Because if like we're not going to move in on this guy, so it just kind of is what it is. Yes. So there's our land. We get to attack for 3 in the air. We're going to play Karn, take him down to 3, and make a big dude. He untaps and he Ancient Grudges the guy. I guess he untaps. If he untaps and Ancient Grudges the big guy and bolts the Midnight, then he gets to swing and kill Karn. If we play Karn and plus Karn, then he can't kill Karn. Yeah, that's what we have to do. We have to plus him because the -1, he just minus him, nothing ends up happening. We get nothing out of it. He probably gives us Inkmoth Nexus because he has a Blood Moon in hand, but both those cards are bad, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, alright. So we know we have a Mox Opal exiled with the silver counter. He can grudge the Mimnite, bolt the Karn, and still kill Karn. So that's unfortunate. We know he has Bolt and Blood Moon in hand. So we know his hand. Probably be pretty good if he draws the Scavenging Ooze. But if he uses the Grudge on this Mimnite, and he fully commits to killing this Karn, that's probably not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, but that's still not exactly what we want. Oh wait, he bolted the Mimnite. He should have grudged the Mimnite. So now he Blood Moons? Because he wants that ooze. Okay. Well. So we can make a big guy, but then he Ancient Grudges it. So I think I want a plus. Let's see what we get. So he gives us another Inkmoth Nexus. So we play an Inkmoth Nexus, which is going to do nothing. We play a Signal Pest. I think we're still swinging with our flyers. I think we're still clocking him. Because if he attacks with both, we chump block Eternal Witness with Mimnite. I think that's what our plan is. A Cranial Plating would be really good. The Steel Overseer is going to be too slow, probably? I don't know. It could be, there could be merit next turn to like -1 and get the Steel Overseer in my hand and play it. And Steel Overseer might help me take over the game with these flyers. But he ends up just Ancient Grudging that, I guess, so that's not good. So he gets land off the top, goes to 13. There's another land on the top, so he's kind of flooding, which is good for us. Plays an Ooze, he can eat one thing and go to 14. Karn. So we're going to block the Eternal Witness. Karn goes to 1. We're going to see what we draw, but we might just get the Steel Overseer to force his Ancient Grudge. It's disappointing. So if we go minus on Karn, get Steel Overseer back, then we force him to Ancient Grudge the Steel Overseer. He's going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage in the air, go to 7. He has to grudge. I guess let's go to combat first. Like, I'm not blocking to save Karn. So we're either plussing or minusing to get the Steel Overseer. But we're going to first see what he does with his Ancient Grudge. So it looks like he's going to take this. His force means he's going to be able to gain 3 life. So it's -1 and get the Steel Overseer. I guess we could just hold the Springleaf Drum. Could represent Galvanic Blast. So there goes the Ancient Grudge, which is good. We don't really want him Eternal Witnessing that back. He drew the Forest. His top card is going to be a Tireless Tracker, which isn't what we're super concerned about. Oh no, he had Forest on top. So he had a Forest on top, so he has a Forest in hand. So we can go to 11. And then take 3, 4, 5, 6, and go to 5. Gain 3. A plating here would still be ideal, but I think right now we're ahead in this race. More worthless lands are another option. It's completely fine, I guess. Upsides, we know his next card is dead, but the problem is he's going to be able to play a land to get a draw. So he has a redraw. It's something that matters. The 3-point swings off this Volt Scourge is pretty good. He's able to negate the Volt Scourge's damage, and he's taking 3 off these 2. So there's the Tireless Tracker. Play the Forest off the top to get a clue. Bloodbraid Elf. Oh, that sucks. So he's going to be able to draw the Bloodbraid Elf, play the Bloodbraid Elf. But then he's going to go to 1 if he does that. Or he could try to gain 3 life. Alright, so he's going to go for the Bloodbraid Elf. Let's see what he hits. And he'll cascade into a Birds, so that's good. I guess he gets to chump. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's going to go to 2, eat another card, he'll go to 3. We win off of Cranial Plating. God almighty. Gotta be kidding. So he plays a land and cracks it. So it's 5, 13, 15, 18. That's unbelievable. There's so many dead draws. So if we swing with the team, we hit him for 6, he goes to 3. We gain 3, we go to 17. We die in the crackback. If we swing with Signal Pass Vault Scourge, we go to 16. He takes 3 and goes to 6. We chump block Scavenging Ooze. We take 8, 9, 10. I think that's probably our best play. We need to draw a Cranial Plating. Like, I don't think we have any other option here. Okay, so we can draw this and make some Thopters. And that probably locks the game if he goes that route. If he makes Thopters, then we're just dead. If he goes Bloodbraid Elf, then maybe we're okay. Well, does he make Thopters? Uh, 13, 14, 15. Takes me to 1. He could have eaten that Signal Pest and made it lethal. Yeah, you're supposed to do that before damage. Yeah, okay, awesome. So we say Springleaf Drum, dead. Man, that was not... We just drew nothing. I don't think we want Aether Grid. I don't think we really care about Thoughtseize. I think this is what we want. We just need to have action. We need to not draw the Springleaf Drum and Mana side of our deck. I guess we'll play first. So like this hand is one of those hands that's tricky. We get to have a turn 1, empty our hand, but then we have no payoff. We have nothing we're doing. I think we can still keep it because we can go Ink Moth and we can go and start the Infect plan. So we're going to keep this one. If we draw any gas pieces, then this hand becomes insane. But if not, we're just going to be signal pests damaging as well as we can. No, it's not very good at all. It just can get a lot worse. So I think it's okay, and it only takes one card for this hand to be really good. Alright. Okay. Them having a turn 1 sprawl every game has not been helpful either. See, there we go. Okay, so go Blink Moth, Arcbound Ravager, Animate Ink Moth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can take them to 7 infect right now, but that's not going to be good enough. With the Darksteel Citadel, we could have taken them to 8 infect. So we have the win next turn. If they like tap out for a Courser or Crucifix. If they play a Blood Moon, then we don't have the win, obviously. But so now it looks like a Blood Moon. Yeah. Oh, Ancient Grudge. Kind of want to eat this Springleaf Drum. So how much damage are we looking at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'm gonna eat the Springleaf Drum. We get turned off color mana, but we boarded out a lot of our color mana sources, so that's fine. We're gonna put them on our Ornithopter, because it'll make our Ornithopter dodge Bolt. And it'll diversify the threats. That's fine. I'd much rather. So they spent their flashback on an Ornithopter, so that's completely fine with me. Equip this. We're gonna make this a thing, and we're gonna swing for 5. So they've used their Ancient Grudge. Okay. So they get a Blood Moon. That's pretty good. Blood Moon was pretty good because it turns off my infect lands. Fire up this, fire up this. Equip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it would have been lethal on infect. But instead, we're stuck with our 3-turn clock. That was a really good cascade. If they hit like a Courser off that cascade, then we have lethal with infect. I think there's enough Blood Moons still floating around, and Stony Silences that I still want Nature's Claims or something in the deck. Play a land. Get a clue. Crack the clue. Yeah. Another plating, we win. Galvanic Blast, we win. Arcbound Ravager is not going to be good enough. We don't have any Master of Ethereums anymore. We boarded those out. I think they missed their attack last turn too. Yeah, they did. Um, so we get to take them to 1. We're in another spot where we have like a lot of ways to win the game, and we just need to ink out a little bit. Oh, that's not good. What? Enters the battlefield. It deals 3 damage divided as you choose among. Oh my goodness. So 1, 1, and 1. So I go to 16. He kills both my dudes. That's unfortunate. We take 7. I think we're dead next turn. That's incredibly unfortunate. And we draw another land. Yeah, because he can pump it for 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 11. Yeah, we're just dead. Wow. Alright, so we lose against Red Green Panza. I definitely don't think we were that far off in that. We were simply in a spot where we needed to just stop drawing lands or not have them cascade into Blood Moon. The Jeskai matchup was a lot closer. The Red-Green Panza matchup, I think percentages say we should have won 2 out of 3 of those games. We didn't, but I think percentages say we should have. So I think the deck's still good. I've been playing a lot of Dredge. I might try some Dredge next time I jump on. I think that deck is in a really good position. I won the GP recently, kind of going back and forth on some of the builds. But I think it's kind of the deck I want to be on. So that's probably the deck I'll test a little bit more, because there's still enough hate for artifacts with Clark Clan Ironworks and Affinity and things floating around that I don't think I want to be on Affinity yet. So I'm going to test a few different decks, and we'll see kind of where we end up. But like I said, most Tuesdays, not next week, but most Tuesdays, I will be on somewhere between 7 and 8 o'clock, and I will stream at least 1 league. And then occasionally throughout the week, if there's a desire, I can hop on again. You can find me on Twitter at Busted Sleeves or on Twitch at Busted Sleeves. I've been streaming with NTG Deck Techs. We've been getting a lot of followers, kind of picking up steam, so definitely something worth jumping onto. So you can also give us a subscription or a follow on Twitch or on Twitter at MTG Deck Techs. If you have a deck that you want to see play, definitely shoot us a message. If there's other nights that you want to see some decks played, or a particular list that you want to see somebody pick up and play more than 1 league with instead of hopping around, which I normally like to hop around, but if you want to see somebody play 1 deck, just shoot us a message, let us know. But otherwise, thanks for jumping on, and I will be on again probably at least within the next 2 weeks, but probably sometime into this week. Alright, thanks.